The big thing that got me into thinking about how the subconscious works is my own struggles with bad habits. You see, I had all these things I wanted to do, like getting to the gym, or planning a proper budget, or starting work on these videos. But for some reason, I could not get myself motivated enough to do it. I would waste time, I would procrastinate, and just not get things done. I knew it was a problem. It actually got so bad I even got prescribed Adderall in an attempt to fix the problem. It helped for a time, but not for long, and I knew that taking a pill could only be a temporary solution in the long run. So, what was stopping me? Again, I knew what I wanted to do. I knew what I wanted to share with you guys. After some introspection, I realized the problem was coming from how these bad habits were getting into my head. Why was I having them? It turns out that it had everything to do with my subconscious. In my last video, I talked about how your subconscious works by automatizing your repeated actions. For those of you who missed it, you can click the link here. To give a quick example, how many of you have struggled with working up the courage to face that first day back at the gym? It's extremely difficult, isn't it? The reason it's difficult is because your subconscious has automatized a way of life that's simply not used to going to the gym. Your desire to go back to the gym is not a part of who you are yet. And so when you decide to go back, all you have to push you there is sheer willpower. And willpower is painful without your subconscious helping you out. But the irony is that you have to use your willpower in order to reprogram your subconscious. You have to consciously keep reminding yourself why you want to go back to the gym, that you want to lose weight, you want to build muscle, you want to look good in the mirror. And then eventually, after a week or two back at the gym, it gets easier. After a month or two, you find the struggle has really subsided. After a year, you'll wonder how you ever thought you couldn't go to the gym. You'll be at the point where you can't live without it. Coming back to the personal example I opened up with, what I realized about my own struggles was that I had automatized an intense form of procrastination that made getting important things done seem like torture as an end in itself. The realization of that allowed me to know that I needed to change my behavior by direct, conscious willpower in order to override the procrastination, just like you would just force yourself to go to the gym. I needed to reprogram my subconscious through direct willpower to get it in line with what I actually wanted to do and to achieve. But unlike going back to the gym, procrastination was causing deeper problems in my life than just staying out of shape. So, in this video, I want to talk about some of the most dangerous traps that your subconscious can automatize, which can ruin your whole life if you let them control you. The first trap, going back to my example, is procrastination, not getting focused. Focus is your ability to be aware of what you're doing and to concentrate on a task. Technically, you can't actually automatize focus. It's the crux of our free will, of what we can do with our conscious minds. You have to choose to turn your mind on and actually engage with the task before you. But what you can automatize are things that make focusing difficult and unpleasant. You can automatize procrastination. For instance, if you characteristically waste time, if you procrastinate every time you have to do something, you can actually automatize a fear of getting focused, so that when you go to do a task, you'll suddenly feel uncomfortable and find that getting started is extremely difficult. You then think, why bother, and drop trying to focus and procrastinate more, which only compounds the problem further. This can apply to anything you're trying to focus on. Maybe it's reading a book, doing chores, planning your monthly budget, prepping your gym workouts, or making YouTube videos. So, what's the solution? Willpower. Willpower is simply forcing yourself to start. Now, let me just say, this is agony. It can be such a painful and difficult task that you'll wonder why you're even trying. But here's what you have to remember. This is the key. It's only agony the first time. Getting started is the hardest part. As you continue to work at it, it gets easier and easier. You get into what you're doing and start seeing the payoff of your effort. Eventually what happens is you'll automatize a liking of focus, and you'll start to feel uncomfortable and anxious when you aren't organized and prepared or doing what you want. That is the goal. So here's the first tip. Force yourself to get started and work for at least 10 minutes. Chances are that after those 10 minutes, you'll just keep working. Like I said, getting started is the hardest part. After that, continue to ride that wave of momentum. You'll find that once you start getting organized and developing a pattern, getting started each day won't seem that bad. If you have a bad day, simply try again the next day. We won't all get it right the first time, but don't give up on yourself. Keep at it. Remember that it gets easier over time. This brings us to the second trap to avoid. Instant gratification. Here, what you've automatized is satisfaction of an immediate desire. The effect is that now every time you see something you desire, you get very uncomfortable if you can't have it now. And what you're doing is you're letting your immediate desire destroy your real long-range values and goals. This can cause you to sabotage your own life. For example, we all know the phenomena of impulse buying. You let your desire for a thing sabotage your value of your monthly budget. Or when you're on your diet and you let that craving for a cookie or a fast food meal sabotage your value of your goal weight. Or when it's time for the gym and you let the desire to stay in sabotage your value of being in shape. In most of these cases, it's always justified with, "Oh, I'll just do it tomorrow." What you'll often find is that the immediate desire was never really a true value to you. It was just an excuse to not pursue your real value. Your immediate desires only sabotage what you really value. You sacrifice your values to immediate pleasure. The solution is to learn and then automatize delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is your ability to see your long-range values in the immediate moment. So here's a second tip. Don't sacrifice. Don't sacrifice your financial security to a product you just have to have. If you want to diet, don't sacrifice your health goals to the cookie. If you want to get fit, don't sacrifice your body to tomorrow. Demand it today. Reinforce your values by surrounding yourself with them. Find ways to see the vision of your long-range goals in the immediate moment. Create a healthy, supportive environment around you. Maybe it's hanging a picture of the body you want on your bathroom mirror so you see it every morning. Maybe it's posting your monthly budget on your refrigerator. Now, every once in a while, you can treat yourself to a whim, but only if it's the exception and not the norm. This is usually called in the fitness industry a cheat day. One more thing, get off social media. Social media is an instant gratification training ground. It's constantly feeding you short bits of content, little videos, funny memes that give you immediate bolts of pleasure. It's not good for you. Set digital wellness timers on your most used apps or just delete them altogether. There's nothing on social media that important for you to see. It's also just a waste of valuable time. Finally, the third and most dangerous trap to avoid is repression. Repression is an automatized avoidance of certain emotions that you don't want to feel. And since emotions aren't primaries, but are caused by our thoughts, we discussed this in our emotions video, you can click the link here. What this really means is that you have automatized an avoidance of certain thoughts. For example, Let's say you've fallen in love with a woman who's dating another man. And so, to avoid the pain of heartbreak, which is the emotion, you force yourself to forget about the thought of her over and over again. Eventually, it's automatized, and thoughts of her no longer enter your mind. Take another example. Let's say in a poetry contest, your friend's piece wins first prize and yours is forgotten. And so rather than feel embarrassment over your poetry and envy towards your friend, those would be the emotions, you tell yourself everything's fine, and you bury the thought of your poetry and, incidentally, of your friend. With repression, it's not that your thoughts are ejected from your awareness. They are forbidden from entering it. You sever yourself from thought, from cognition, from thinking, from integration. What has happened is that you have automatized avoiding a certain thought because it brings you pain. And here's the big point. Cutting yourself off from those thoughts affects more than just those immediate emotions. For each thought you repress, you sever off whole sections of your emotional capacity. For instance, to continue with those examples, the man who is repressing his love for the woman has told his mind, in effect, that feeling a positive emotion for a woman, any woman, is wrong. Because of that, his mind is going to prevent him from forming new positive attachments for women, and he's going to start to wonder why it is that on new dates he can't connect with the woman, and that even in his other relationships, that they've started to become boring, dull, meaningless. Or in the case of the man who writes the poetry, he has told his mind that his poetry is cheap, that his friend is better than him. That means that now his mind is going to be afraid to write new poetry, and also will want to avoid his friend. And eventually he'll find that he can't seem to write poetry anymore, and that he has lost his friend. Repression wreaks havoc through your mind, through your life, and it ultimately just destroys your emotional capacity. If you practice it enough, it will make you into a mindless husk of a person. You'll just be drifting through life, feeling nothing and enjoying nothing. You will miss out on the pleasure life has to offer you. So, what's the solution? Don't repress. Feel your emotions. Sit down with them. Understand them. Figure out what would be necessary to get over the pain in order to move on. You actually have to focus on both the things that caused you pain and the emotion of the pain itself, no matter how hard it is. For instance, the man in love with the woman should let himself feel the pain of the unrequited love. He should spend time with it, and as time passes, he should and he will begin to realign himself to the facts. He knows that love is a good thing, and that even though it's not possible with this woman, it is certainly possible with another, and he can start allowing himself to take steps in that direction. And then when he goes on his next date, he's actually open to the idea that something here is possible, and he's emotionally available to engage with the new woman. So here's the final tip. Journal about what you're feeling, or talk with a friend whom you trust and who will let you spill while they listen. It is critical that you feel the emotions and not bury them and avoid them. Pain is certainly uncomfortable when you're feeling it, but it must be felt in order to be processed, and you have to give yourself the time to do it. The next time you find yourself in a situation where you're procrastinating, or you feel a sudden impulsive urge that would take you away from a value, or you feel an unpleasant emotion that you get the urge to push down and away, remember that you are in control of your habits, that all of these things are manageable if you'll allow yourself to manage them. And it all comes down to understanding the role your subconscious plays in developing your habits, and in understanding what it takes to get your subconscious working for you and not against you. I hope you got a lot out of this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button before you leave and subscribe to our channel to continue receiving more videos on topics like this. Also, be sure to sign up to our email list to receive additional content, like practical tips and guides for getting the most out of life. Helios is all about motivating you and helping you to enjoy life. We utilize philosophy and psychology in order to offer you a unique way of thinking and living life. We're working on courses that are designed to help you gain control over your mind and your life, and we put out new videos and podcasts at least once a week. If you'd like to support our channel, please consider buying us a coffee. Thank you so much for watching.